Hey, Brandon here. Welcome to the channel and thanks for tuning in. Got a great show today, man. We're talking 2024 NFL draft prospects. On this channel, it's never too early to talk about future draft classes, especially if you play Dynasty and you want to get an early look at next year's draft classes for Dynasty Fantasy Football. This is the channel for you, so hit that subscribe button. My podcast co-host and I, Jason DiRienzo, and I are going to talk about 6 players that had a great week 1 in college football. 6 players that are kind of on the radar for the NFL draft that could potentially hit our dynasty rosters. But this show we're going to be doing on a weekly basis on this channel. My podcast, Devy to Dynasty Football, we're also going to be doing a segment each week to discuss about the future dynasty classes, right? That's what we love to do on the podcast and on this channel. So I'm not going to waste any time. We're going to turn it over to that podcast right now, and we're going to talk about 6 players that we feel had a great week 1 that increased their values for the NFL draft next year. All right, so let's talk about, Jason, our NFL stock report players. All right, we're going to talk about 3 more players each that we feel as though will increase that we think, these guys are all potentially heading to the draft next year. So I'm going to let you kick us off one because I know the juicy name here in the beginning. I know you just can't wait to talk about. He is the talk of the NFL crowd town right now in the wide receiver room. So I'll let you kick it off tonight.
Yeah, my first guy who's going to be an NFL stock up for me is going to be KEON Coleman out of FSU. This was a tough one for me, man, because honestly, I have a bias toward FSU receivers. They have burned me. Tamorrion Terry, Auden Tate, Herman Lane, who I thought was going to be good. Like the list kind of just goes on. And so I'm a little hesitant, but it is just too obvious that KEON Coleman is special. 6'4", 210, 215 pounds. And in this game, he looked phenomenal. The route running, the manipulation. He faked an in to hit the out, the release. The contested catches, contortionist to get the ball mid-air. I loved everything I saw about KEON Coleman. I think he has an explosive release. The speed is definitely there. He can stack defenders, and he can stack with speed or with manipulation and then get past them. I think there's a ton of upside that we have not seen that was capped at Michigan State. And I think now is the time that we're going to see KEON Coleman just jump onto the radar and become the wide receiver 1 at FSU and more than likely become a top 5 wide receiver. Maybe for some people, he's already in the conversation of wide receiver 2 in the next upcoming NFL draft. I'm not there yet, but dude, he's phenomenal, and I'm falling in love.
Okay, he's Mel Kiper's number 2 wide receiver.
Oh,
Kiper just came out. He's got him at number 2, right in front of Neighbors,
Kiper's
and right.
Been watching him that long. I mean, come on.
Yeah. So,
anyway.
But in any case, I'm going to pump the brakes just a little bit. I think the guy had a nice game. I got to see. To me, when it comes to how players are valued in the NFL, it's how do they win. Now, there's no doubt about it. This guy's a contested catch, good guy. But in that game specifically, yeah, he made a nice move. In that in-breaking route on his first touchdown, and then he showed some really nice ability to make that guy miss, and he cut really subtly and had that guy miss and took it to the house. I just need to see more nuanced route running before I'm putting him above some of these other receivers, again.
For sure. Yeah.
So I mean, it's just everyone's like going berserker with this guy over one game, and I get it. I'm not trying to throw cold water on anything, but I'm going to
you're not wrong.
I had to pump the brakes a little bit.
Deuce Chestnut did not look good, and that was a matchup that should have never happened. I mean, the size advantage was ridiculous alone. So I really had to look at the skill set because that matchup with Chestnut was not okay.
Yeah.
And so the skill set alone, I came away impressed with.
Yeah, I guess I'm just saying if he had won that first touchdown and he didn't have another one, the world be thinking he's, a top 10 NFL draft pick. But in any case, all right. My guy that I want to talk to, J. Michael STURDIVANT from UCLA. All right. 6'3", 205 pounds. You want to talk about a guy who also had a nice game. This guy is not going to be a first rounder. He's, I'm not thinking that. But again, we're talking about, NFL players here in the 2024 draft, that stock is going to increase. I mean, this guy won in a multiple ways on the field in this game, which was really impressive. He won vertically. He won on on that vertical route. He stacked the defender really nice. I really liked his yak ability. He showed the boundary or the boundary awareness and the body control. He had great, body control, contorted, caught the ball. Just so he won in a multiple of ways. I got a YouTube film, on the YouTube channel here. I got a film on him of this game that he played against Coastal Carolina. And I love this toughness running the ball. I mean, this guy with the ball in his hand was impressive. He had 5 receptions for 136 yards and 1 TD. Now he had 10 targets, so somebody might look like 50% catch percentage. I can assure you that 3 or 4 of those balls when I was making that film were nowhere near him to be able to catch the ball. That was just, he was the one in the area. So sometimes those targets can be a little misleading. It's not like he was close to in his hands and he dropped it or whatever. He was the target, but the dude caught the ball that, was, earmarked for him. And he was impressive. I like his size too, man. A lot of big receivers in this 2024 class. I mean,
wow. And he's got speed too, man.
Yeah. So he's, I love guys that can win all over the field, right? Not just the contested catch deep guys. I want the guy that can get the ball short and take it to the distance. He looks like he's got the athleticism to be a player who could be on the rise as we go through the season here.
And he's going to have one of the best quarterbacks in college football throwing him the ball. So
yeah,
gotta love
exactly.
that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a while. My next guy, when I say it's been a while since I've talked about a Stanford tight end or a tight end in general. But my next NFL draft stock up is going to be Ben YUROSEK out of Stanford, tight end. I came away deeply impressed with this kid.
Great game.
9 receptions, 11 targets against Hawaii, Stanford versus Hawaii. And man, 138 yards, a touchdown, had a great grab in this game, showed off some athleticism, good speed. I think there's definitely something here with him because honestly, going into the season, I was not looking forward to watching Stanford. Their offensive line is terrible. I thought they were going to have him blocked the whole time. EJ Smith was really the only thing I wanted to watch out of Stanford, and YUROSEK, hello, buddy. Like, here, you have arrived. And it's week 1. And I'm excited to actually watch a Stanford tight end. So that's crazy to me, and that says a lot. But Ben YUROSEK, you are on my radar.
Yeah, dude, he had 2 really nice catches in that game. It wasn't just one.
Yeah.
He had impressive. So, all right, we love tight ends on this channel, right? We love tight ends on this podcast. So I'm going to stick with the tight ends. I'm going to go with CADE Stover. 5 receptions, 98 yards.
That's a good one.
I mean, Ohio State, he was just behind Julian Fleming with the targets with 7, caught 5 balls, 98 yards, like I said. He's one of the best blockers in the research that I've done in the 2024 class. So if he can show this vertical ability, he had a 49 reception. I like his yak ability. I mean, he was breaking tackles and his contact balance. I can't say that, CADE Stover was not really someone that a lot of people paid attention to in 2022. You know what I mean? It was all
a lot
about
of drops. I think that's what threw me off last year.
But
his hands were questionable, but look good.
But guys can improve on that. They hit the jug machine. Yeah. But again, we're talking about NFL draft stock risers. Again, if he balls out, and if Kyle McCord ends up really liking him as a guy to throw the ball to, if they're taking Marvin Harrison out of the game, and he's going to be the check down guy and not really throw it vertical. I mean, CADE Stover could really have a nice season, but I was impressed watching that Ohio State game. I thought he looked pretty damn good.
Yeah, he looked great to me too. I think it's a great call. The tight ends, it's interesting. It's going to be another class where I think we're going to be talking about a few of these guys. As a matter of fact, I mean, I was debating whether I want to talk about Ben YUROSEK or my guy Luke Lachey, who had a nice game too.
Yeah.
So, but I think CADE Stover is a great call. I think this is one of those kids who can really just almost has the skill set and the ability, and now getting that production to rise to the top. So I think that's a phenomenal call that you just made with him. Man, this one's tough for me, Brandon. I don't even like talking about it, but Bo Nix for sure has got to be on radars at this point. And I know that the competition level is not something that's going to get everybody excited. But dude, he just continues to showcase himself over and over and over. And it makes you really think as you watch Auburn, there's something wrong with Auburn that they have such a hard time developing any position at this point.
They do.
Bo Nix goes over to Oregon and just continually just improves. And that's saying something. And you know the kid's competitive for what he had to deal with when he was at Auburn, and he shows that as well. But I just I have to allow myself to be okay with saying that Bo Nix could become one of the QBs that we discussed in this upcoming NFL draft class that teams are going to look at as a franchise QB. It's weird,
It's
but
okay.
he looked
It's
good,
okay. It's
and
okay.
he's here, and probably going to talk more about him, but he deserves to be an NFL stock riser for sure.
Yeah, I think so. It's going to be interesting, just all these quarterbacks. It's going to be, I think, a really interesting class as it develops as we get closer to the draft next year. I'm going to
Yeah,
finish out here with my third. I'm going to go with the quarterback as well, and JJ McCarthy. Dude lit it up, 26 for 30. I know he played East Carolina, and I get it, but I'll tell you what, 26 of 30, 281 yards, 3 TDs. He really didn't do a lot of rushing in this game, where typically he's shown the ability to rush the ball as well. They didn't really need to do that in this game, but I'll tell you what, I liked his ability to throw on the run. I thought he stood in the pocket and went through his reads, and I think on the podcast here earlier, 2 or 3 episodes ago, he was my bold prediction that he might be day one draft eligible, right? I
yeah,
mean, he
yep.
might rise enough. I think the kid's got the skill set. I think he's got the athleticism. It's all about what's in between his ears. I think ultimately, I think he's got enough arm talent. I like his mobility. And I said last year, man, he was tough running the ball. He's not scared to get dirty down there and, get those tough yards too. So, again, stock up. I think these, just like you, Bo Nix. I mean, what's nice about these quarterbacks for me as we talk about the 2024 draft is I think the NFL is going to be, there's nothing wrong with a 4 to 5 year senior coming out anymore, because
No, no, there's
I
not.
think, I think the NFL is valuing guys that are playing for 3 or 4 years to continue to develop, because I think you really see what you have in them. Instead,
And
Anthony
there's a
Richardson,
maturity level too.
yeah, and Anthony Richardson, I mean, Trey Lance is a perfect example, right? Didn't have a lot of experience, but it was, the athletic traits are just unbelievable. What could he be? Anthony Richardson's kind of in that same mold. I mean, I'm sure Anthony Richardson's going to be a lot more, successful. Let's hope. We don't know, but we're pretty hopeful and, pretty confident that he will be a good, NFL quarterback. But so these guys that are playing, for 2 or 3 straight years that have the, that have the experience. I love the Bo Nix call. And JJ McCarthy, I think he has another solid year. He plays in a great offense too. They're going to run the shit out of the ball, so he's going to have to just be the guy. And Michigan could, go a long way this year. So I got JJ McCarthy NFL draft stock up.
I completely agree with you. The deep ball is still a question mark for me, but the kid plays hard, man, and he's very intelligent. You can see he's got some
Mm-hmm.
great anticipatory throws.
Yeah. So